to later at 8. Right now, footy reports and reaction with Mark Chapman.
Good afternoon. We aren't done with the festive football fixtures just yet. There's a full Football League programme going on this afternoon, and watching it with me, Mark Bright and Matt Holland. Let's crack straight on into the Championship. These are the latest scores at the moment. Barnsley lead Coventry by 2-1. Goran Lovera and Nathan Doyle with the goals for the home side. Freddie Eastwood on target for the visitors. Crystal Palace are winning the battle of the bottom two. Stefan Everson on target there for Palace. It's goalless between Derby and Millwall. Nottingham Forest 1-up on Ipswich thanks to a Damien Delaney own goal. Bruno Berner and Darius Vassell have given Sven-Göran Eriksson's side a 2-1 lead at home to Swansea. Scott Sinclair with the away goal. Middlesbrough 1, Norwich City 1, an own goal from Russell Martin, levelling things up for Borough after Grant Holt gave Norwich the lead. Portsmouth 1, Hull 1. Jimmy Bullard got a first-half penalty for the visitors. Liam Lawrence equalised for Pompey. Leaders QPR have lost 3 out of the last 5, and they went behind to Brett Pittman's 11th of the season at home to Bristol City, but Alejandro Forlan has equalised. Shane Long's 9th goal of the campaign has cancelled out Ross Wallace's earlier strike in the Reading-Burnley game, although Reading are now 2-1 up. I'll give you that goal as soon as I get it. Scunthorpe are a goal up on Watford. Martin Wolford with the goal there. Play had been suspended because of a floodlight failure, and it's Mickey Adams' first home game since taking charge of Sheffield United. Not going too well, though. The former Sheffield United player, Billy Sharp, has scored for Doncaster Rovers. So Sheffield United 0, Doncaster Rovers 1. Shane Long, by the way, got the second Reading goal at the Medeski. Let's find out then about the Championship leaders and go to Loftus Road. Here's Tony Lockwood.
Yes, the league leaders being held at home. 2 goals in the space of 5 second-half minutes brought this game to life. Bristol City striker Brett Pittman can't stop scoring at the moment. 8 goals in 8 games as he seized on a defensive error to steer the ball wide of Paddy Kenny. QPR's response was almost immediate. Alejandro Forlan side-footing home for the equaliser. Rob Hulse had gone close in the first 45 minutes with 2 excellent headed opportunities. It was opening half that QPR dominated. It's a bank holiday crowd of over 15,000 here at Loftus Road. Harry Redknapp, the Spurs boss, among them in the director's box just down below me. We're into the last 15 minutes. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Bristol City 1.
Craig McHale, second of the afternoon, 16 in total for the season for him. Peterborough 2-1 up on Walsall. Notts County lead Hartlepool by 2-0. Lee Miller with the second. Thomas Ince got the first there. And it's Torquay 2, Oxford United 3. Elliot Benyon with that. Hull now 3-1 up on Portsmouth. Nick Barmby with that goal. Mark, as far as the Championship leaders are concerned, QPR, they're in a wobbly period at the moment, aren't they? As I said, they've lost 3 of the last 5. Yeah, but they beat Swansea quite convincing. And today, they've had this great run. They've only lost 2 games all season, and both come in recent weeks. But they're battling away today. They're having a real go. And I tell you, they've just had a couple of chances. Matthews had a shot. And this could go any way. Brentford are going for their 5th successive league win. They're not going to get it this afternoon, though, are they, at Bournemouth? As it stands, Bournemouth 2, Brentford 1. Marvin Bartley with the goal there. To the Walkers Stadium next. For the first time this afternoon, here's Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, inside the last quarter of an hour here, and Swansea may have risen to prominence in the Championship, but they've so far struggled to rise to Leicester's challenge here. As I speak, Leicester with another opportunity. Leicester unbeaten at home since Sven arrived here. That's way back in September when they were last beaten. That was by QPR. They were off to a bit of a flyer. 5 minutes in, Bruno Berner snapping up a rebound from a yard out. Then, easily the moment of the match, Scott Sinclair with a fabulous bit of football. A 1-2 around the Leicester box and a fine right-footed finish that flew past Wheel. Swansea, though, have, they've lost their last 4 away despite being second in the Championship race, and they haven't really capitalised. In fact, Leicester added to their lead just before the break. Another close-range effort. Vassell this time. Leicester haven't lost to Swansea here in 60 years. That doesn't look like changing anytime soon.
Leyton Orient beaten in 5 at home in League One. League Colchester by 3-1. Southampton had 2-0 up at relegation-threatened Dagenham and Redbridge. Do Prado with that. There's 15 minutes to go. Dagenham to the Riverside. Paul Addison's watching Middlesbrough-Norwich.
Afternoon, Mark. It's Borough 1, Norwich 1. Not the best game of football you'll ever see. Norwich took the lead on 11 minutes through Grant Holt, his 12th goal of the season, and one that Jason Steele in the Middlesbrough goal would want to forget. Holt found space in the penalty area, turned and shot from an angle, and the ball seemed to go through Steele and into the back of the net. 10 minutes later, and Borough were level thanks to an own goal from Russell Martin. He scored the winner against QPR on New Year's Day and put through at the wrong end this afternoon following good build-up play from Leroy Lita and from Marvin Emnes. Julio Arca's shot from the edge of the area, deflecting off Martin and wrong-footing John Ruddy. Apart from that, not a great deal to tell you. The Borough captain Matthew Bates has come close on a couple of occasions, and Norwich have had their moments with lots of second-half possession, but it's all square, 1-1 with 15 minutes left.
Barry Corr's 7th league goal of the season means Southend have got one back against Cheltenham. Doncaster had 2 up. Billy Sharp's 2nd of the afternoon at Bramall Lane. Chris O'Grady's 2nd of the afternoon means Rochdale at 2 up at Oldham, and in the SPL, Kilmarnock leads St Mirren by 2-0. You may have seen the Watford equaliser go through on the video. Danny Graham, who else got it? Steve Lee can tell us about it.
Well, it's Scunthorpe 1, Watford 1, and the lights looked like they were going out on Malky Mackay's side. Literally just a few minutes ago, we had a 9-minute delay because of a floodlight failure, and it seemed to unsettle Watford. They conceded a penalty shortly afterwards, which Michael O'Connor kindly for them put it in row Z, and then they conceded a goal through Martin Wolford, easily Scunthorpe's best player. Scunthorpe, bear in mind, haven't won here since August the 28th, only 1 point since September at home, but then just when they were celebrating, their joy was short-lived because Danny Graham got goal number 16 for Watford, a back header on the line. It beat Joe Murphy, and the Watford fans who've suffered the indignity of lights out are now lights on. 1-1.
Let's find out about the old boy tormenting the new manager at Bramall Lane, Damien Johnson.
Yes, Doncaster Rovers, 10-man Doncaster Rovers lead by 2-0. Billy Sharp, as you say, returns again to haunt one of his former clubs. He's just scored from the penalty spot. Before that, Coppinger's left wing cross and Sharp's finish. The penalty incident, Coppinger was bundled over in the area. Sharp low to Simonson's right-hand side. He got a hand to it, but it went in. That's his 10th of the season. This is new Sheffield United manager Mickey Adams' first home game in charge. Got a rousing reception before kick-off, but it's not gone to plan. Ched Evans has threatened occasionally for them on the break, but it's been largely Doncaster Rovers. Reduced to 10 men because Dennis Souza sent off for a second yellow card in the second half. And Sheffield United, at this rate, heading for the bottom 3. 2-0 they trail.
Oh, I'm back now, we'll just let him finish. Let's go to Fratton Park, where Roger Johnson, it sounds like you're having a goal fest.
Well, do you know what, Mark? It's now Portsmouth 2, Hull City 3, and when you went on air, I'd got a nice report written saying 1-1, a couple of penalties, and it was all fairly one-way traffic, Portsmouth on top, and that was the way it had been for much of the game, and that's the way it was. Jimmy Bullard had put Hull ahead with just about their only chance of the first half. That was a penalty, a soft one as well. Portsmouth equalising with a penalty of their own. But then Hull City came alive. Matty Fryatt, introduced from the bench, put them 2-1 ahead. That's a good idea, thought Nigel Pearson. He brought on another sub, Nick Barnby. 3-1 they went ahead. Greg Halford has just headed Portsmouth back into it at 3-2 down. You wouldn't bet against further goals here.
Barnet were 4-0 down at Stevenage, and they're without a manager as well. Mark Stimson sacked on Saturday, but Mark Marshall, with his 6th of the season, has pulled a second back for Barnet. Stevenage 4, Barnet 2. Back to the Championship, Robin Bailey's at Portman Road watching Ipswich Forest.
Yes, it's Ipswich 0, Forest 1. When it rains, it pours for Ipswich. They're heading now for a record of 1 win in 9 and getting closer to that drop zone. Roy Keane seeming disillusioned with the game in his programme notes. Chief Executive Simon Clegg saying pre-match that they needed a return on investment and this run can't continue. And a desperate own goal by Damien Delaney in injury time at the end of the first half. Forest with Ramsey and Cohen classy in midfield, far the more confident. And Forest, who like Ipswich made 5 changes, have been the better side. It's been a poor game, though, and it could have been marked with the most bizarre goal of this championship season. David McGoldrick giving the ball back to Ipswich after a head injury stoppage. Actually, his pass was from 40 yards and he hit the bar. Now, it would have stood, no doubt about that. Roy Keane was furious about that, and he's still furious because with 16 minutes left, his team is 1-0 down.
Roy Keane's face was a picture when that pass back nearly went in. I think over the festive period, Gabby said we don't pay by the word on final score, which must be a relief, Matt, because you haven't said anything yet.
No, that's good news. I had a lot to say, to be honest, and this game as well. You know, Ipswich have had a few chances, but Forest in a really good run at the moment. Lost one of the last 8. They're really propelling themselves up the table and pushing for those playoff spots now.
But Ipswich aren't, and if they lose here in particular, all right, to get a point might be difficult. If they lose here, it's going to be cranked up again, isn't it? This pressure on Roy Keane.
Yeah, I mean they've only won 1 in the last 9, and that was in the snow. So we were praying for snow today at Portman Road, but they didn't get it, unfortunately. No, it's tough going at the moment, and they desperately need to get on this a decent.
Why is it tough going? Why?
Well, I mean, difficult to tell why. I mean, they're not scoring enough goals, and they're making silly mistakes at the back, and that's not a good recipe.
Do you think they're a settled side, or do you think he chops and changes too much?
I saw them at Watford, and I thought when Conor Wickham came on late in the second half, 20 minutes to go, they looked a totally different team. They started to attack more. They didn't create a chance, Chappers. And, you know, I think it's the cup run that's kept Roy in the job, because now I see 6-7 points away from the playoffs. I mean, it can still be turned around, but they seem like a team playing without any confidence.
OK, Ian Thomas-Moore's 7th league goal of the season means Chapman now back in front at Prenton Park against Carlisle. It's 2-1 there. Let's go to Oakwell. Coventry, the visitors this afternoon. Here's Alan Biggs.
Yeah, it's Barnsley 2, Coventry 1 here at Oakwell, where I think the game owes a debt to a spectacular early goal from Nathan Doyle, a chest down and a half volley in from 25 yards, without which I reckon this could well have been quite a humdrum affair between 2 off-form teams. Instead, it's been very lively almost throughout. Coventry forced a deserved equaliser through Freddie Eastwood from Gunnarson's cross, and were then denied a strong penalty shout for a push on Clive Platt right at the end of the first half. But Goran Lovre appeared through a huge gap in Coventry's defence to slot Barnsley back in front, albeit the lead only holding because of Luke Steele's brilliant save, diving to his right from Gary McSheffrey. So a close finish here. It remains Barnsley 2, Coventry 1.
At the start of play, this game coming up was the battle between the bottom 2, the battle between the caretaker managers. Lizzie Greenwood-Hughes is watching Crystal Palace against Preston.
Yes, the bottom 2 clubs, both managerless, both on dreadful form, and in the first half I didn't see a great deal to contradict that. No chances at all, really. But I think the 2 caretakers must have put a rocket up their players at half-time, because the second half has been much more entertaining. Brand new Palace signing Stefan Iversen. Yes, the Stefan Iversen of international Norwegian fame, and of course Spurs, scored a cracking goal with his head early on in the second half. And just before that, Preston were very unlucky to have a penalty denied. Instead, Keith Treacy was booked for diving when he was clearly taken down by Paddy McCarthy. Quick bit of a manager update for you. Steve Coppell is here. The 4-time ex-Palace boss is here watching the game. Chris Hughton was at the Millwall game. It's thought that Coppell will be the director of football. And Preston, we should know by Friday, but apparently it will not be Billy Davis. 40 applicants. It's Palace 1, Preston 0.
Thank you very much, Lizzie. Peterborough 3-1 up on Walsall. Dagenham and Redbridge pulled one back against Southampton, and there's been a penalty at Loftus Road. Tony Lockwood.
Penalty to Queen's Park Rangers. Bristol City handling inside the area. Adel Taarabt will step up and beat David James. Lovely finish by Adel Taarabt. They have applied second half pressure. They went behind to that goal by Brett Pittman. The equalising goal gave them hope. And now on the back of that, Adel Taarabt adding to the goal from Alejandro Forlin. Taarabt from the penalty spot, and Rangers in front for the first time, 2-1.
They need it, don't they, really? If you actually look at it, they're now 7. If everything stays as it was, they'd be 7 points clear of second place in Norwich if everything stays as it was tonight.
It'd be unbelievable. But, you know, it's been a battle for them, and I think we were slightly fortunate to get the penalty. The ball's been headed out from a corner, and it's gone flipped back into the penalty area. And it just looked like, you know, one of the Bristol players was had his hands on the shoulders. The ref gave it. Nobody really appealed from the QPR. And I think they were a bit surprised as well. But, you know, those things go for you when you're at the top of the table and you're playing at home.
I just think sometimes in the Championship you need a battling performance, and that's what he's got. I mean, when Neil Warnock took the job, he brought players in that he knows really well. The likes of Sean Derry, Clint Hill, Paddy Kenny, who's had a terrific season in goal. And sometimes you need a battling performance, and today that's what they've got.
I have just seen that penalty incident again, and you're right, Mark, nobody appeals.
Nobody appeals. That's the main thing when you look at the players. The players look at the referee, he's blown the whistle, they don't know what he's given. Usually there's arms up, crowd cheer. I think they're lucky, but Taarabt's put it in, and what's 12 goals this season?
OK, look at the video printer. Your guess is as good as mine what that means about Scunthorpe Watford, but maybe Steve Lee can tell us at Glanford Park. Steve?
You know, guys, how hard is it to get an electrician on a bank holiday? Well, they certainly haven't not much luck here with the Sparks, because the lights have gone out again with 19 minutes to go. We had a break of 10 minutes a short while ago, and after that we had a penalty and a goal from either side. Now the groups of players are huddling in the darkness. Both sets of fans don't know what's going on. The lights are off. Could be a long night here at Glanford Park with the game at 1-1.
When we find out what happens there, we will bring it to you on Final Score. Leyton Orient now 4-2 up on Colchester. Just 4 minutes to go there. To Pride Park next on Final Score. Andrew James.
Mark, it's Derby County 0, Millwall 0, and it's a bore draw of gargantuan proportions, I'm afraid, at the moment. Colossal disappointment, really, for 24,000 fans here. Both sides have struggled to find their way in front of goal. Millwall, of course, unbeaten in 7. They've only conceded 2 goals along the way, and you can see why. Derby thought they were in for better things after their 2-0 win at Preston the other day, but they really struggled to show anything in front of goal. It's hugely disappointing. The only good note is that Robbie Savage has just been substituted, so if he's doing a 6:06 later mark, he'll have his breath back at least. It's Derby 0, Millwall 0.
He isn't, but I'll cheer him being substituted anyhow. To the Medeski, Reading, Burnley. Mark Bishop watching this.
Reading 2, Burnley 1. Reading looking to bounce back from their first defeat in 9. They've given a very good account of themselves after falling behind to a wonderfully worked goal from Burnley, with Ross Wallace hammering home after a great bit of play on the right from Eagles and Mears. Stuart Gray, Burnley's now new caretaker manager following the sacking of Brian Laws. But he saw his side then relinquish the lead, with Hunt splitting the visitors back four with a perfect pass. Shane Long running clear, and then a cool finish past Lee Grant, making his 250th career start this afternoon. Shane Long bagging his brace, an easy tapping at the far post from McAnuff's corner. Reading piling on the pressure. Clark Carlisle then clearing off the line from Kebe. Not looking good for Burnley. Remember their only win at Reading way back in April 1981. Reading 2, Burnley 1.
Not looking good for the League Two leaders either, is it? Chesterfield, they're 2-1 down at Accrington Stanley with just a couple of minutes to go. Oldham pulled one back at home to Rochdale. Dean Firmin, the midfielder, with 3 minutes to go in that game at Boundary Park. Now, the early game in League One was a Yorkshire derby between 2 promotion candidates, and it was settled by a belter of a goal. Take a look at this, Mark and Matt. Anthony Pilkington just signed a contract extension to 2014. And I would imagine Lee was lucky, was he? The Huddersfield,
I was watching this game.
The Huddersfield management will be very pleased that they've got him signed up to 2014. In all seriousness, what a strike.
Brighton used to get these every week. I mean, what a finish that was. I mean, my old teammate Nicky Weaver in goal had absolutely no chance. It just dips at the final moment. A terrific strike and a big result for Huddersfield.
It was a derby. I watched each Chappers, and, you know, Sheffield Wednesday never really got going in the first half. They had a couple of opportunities. They had the ball in the back of the net was called off. But that was, honestly, when he got that ball turned, and I thought, no one's closing him down. He still had a lot to do. It was an excellent strike.
Did Sheffield Wednesday look like a side who hadn't played over the festive period for all sorts of reasons?
Absolutely. Just slow. And, you know, Kilbane played in the central midfield for Huddersfield. He was pinging it everywhere, left and right. You know, but he did a tackle I thought he should have got a straight red for, and that would be interesting to see what everyone else thinks.
It's the former Sheffield Wednesday player, Mark Bright. Hamish Marshall is at St James's Park in League One this afternoon. Wonder if Brighton can capitalise on Sheffield Wednesday slipping up. They're at Exeter. Here's Hamish.
Well, they're being held at 1-1 at the moment. They have been behind for a big chunk of this match, but the initiative is now with them after Glenn Murray headed the equaliser. That's his 6th goal in 4 games. The home side have got the best recent run of home form in the division. Were ahead from early on when Richard Logan shot home on the turn, and they almost got themselves back in front, but the crossbar denied Ryan Harley's 20-yard shot. We've got 3 minutes left. Exeter 1, league leaders Brighton 1.
Is Mickey Adams going to rally Sheffield United for the last 5 minutes or so? There's been a goal, Damien Johnson.
3 minutes remaining, and they've pulled one back through Daniel Bogdanovic, a second-half substitute. The ball bobbled around the area. Bogdanovic finished pretty coolly, actually. There are 3 minutes to go, as I say. Can Sheffield United mount a grandstand finish here?
Into League One, where promotion-chasing Southampton are at relegation threatened Dagenham and Redbridge. Mark Webber.
It is now Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Southampton 3. Ricky Lambert breaking the hearts of a possible comeback a few moments ago, but free-scoring Southampton have been the ones peppering the goal, but quite a few column inches must go to Dagenham and Redbridge. They built the Berlin Wall in front of their goal in the first half, really frustrating the visitors. In fact, at one stage it looked like the combined population of Dagenham and Redbridge were blocking the goal. The miss cleared early in the second half. Alan Lallana and Do Prado scoring from the same spot within half an hour. The Daggers have just got Bowen back with Josh Scott, but as you just heard, it is now going Southampton's way again with Ricky Lambert tapping in. Dagenham 1, Southampton 3.
I said a few moments ago QPR could be 7 clear at the top of the Championship tonight. Not anymore, they couldn't. Tony Lockwood.
Goal in stoppage time for Bristol City, scored by Stephen Coulter. Only his second goal for the West Country club. Paddy Kenny with a marvellous save to keep out an effort from Jamal Campbell-Rice, and from the resulting corner, Coulter on the far post, jumping majestically to head down past Kenny, and deep in stoppage time. 1,300 Bristol City fans celebrate. It looks as if they have got a point from their trip to Loftus Road. 2-2 still playing.
Oxford United were 3-1 up. Torquay got it back to 3-0. Jack Midson has hit his hat-trick. It looks like Oxford United will take all the points at Playmore. Matt Holland, what a header by Stephen Coulter.
Yeah, great header. I mean, the first thing to say, I've talked about Paddy Kenny, what a great season he's having. He made a great save, went for a corner, the ball came in. It's 2 yards from goal, the header from Coulter. I just wonder whether the goalkeeper can come and claim it. I say, brilliant season, great save beforehand. I just wonder, 2 yards out, he should have come and got it.
Takes nothing away from the player. He's on loan from Spurs. Yeah. He's won Championship Young Player of the Month. He's having a flyer.
Senior goal. And the ball comes in, it's whipped in towards the goalkeeper. And I think Paddy Kenny's thinking, he's got a bit of pace on it, and it's curling towards it. I'm really surprised at QPR, nobody attacked that ball. It was a free header from 2 yards.
If you were confronted by a 6'3" centre-half, would you come for it, 2 yards out?
I'm not a keeper, Chapman.
There's been a goal at the Fitness First Stadium. Tony Husband.
Yes, Bournemouth have wrapped up a convincing win in the end over Brentford with a third goal. Steve Fletcher converting Liam Feeney's cross. Earlier in the game, Feeney had put Bournemouth into a first-half lead with a header. The game really lit up by a dramatic 9 minutes in the second half, in which Lee Bradbury put into his own net to level things up for Brentford. Moments later, though, Feeney's cross was converted by Marvin Bartley. Bournemouth were 2-1 up and looked home and dry, only for Sean Cooper to be adjudged to have handled the ball, and Charlie McDonald subsequently saw his penalty brilliantly saved by Shwan Jalal, who's made 2 excellent saves in the Bournemouth goal. Fletcher's wrapped it up now, in approaching stoppage time. Bournemouth 3-1 up.
Gillingham had won 5 on the spin, but they've lost at Wycombe this afternoon by a goal to nil. Chesterfield have got it back from 2-0 down at Accrington Stanley. It's now 2-2. Rotherham have won at Moss Rose against Macclesfield. Rotherham 2, Macclesfield 0. And let's find out about that late Brighton goal. Hamish Marshall.
Yeah, it looks like the league leaders have completed the comeback. The lead extra by 2-1. Substitute Ashley Barnes and space at the far post. Shot past Paul Jones. In the 90th minute, it's extra 1, Brighton 2.
Let's find out about this Chesterfield comeback then at Accrington. James Mason.
Yes, chappers, I was going to... When you first were about to come to me, Accrington were in plain sailing. 2-0 at the moment as the final whistle goes. Dean Smalley and Scott Bowden, late second half substitutes for Chesterfield, have made it 2-2. 4 minutes of time were added on. Scott Bowden scored, I think, in 4 minutes and 12 seconds after that. Sean McConville and Terry Cornell had put Accrington into a good lead. They could have been 4 or 5-0 up at half-time, but that shows Chesterfield's mettle, the League Two leaders. It's Accrington 2, Chesterfield 2.
All over at Pride Park. Not a thriller, Andrew James.
No, Derby 0, Millwall 0. Millwall, though, unbeaten now in 8, Mark. They've only conceded 2 goals along the way there, and you can see why. Dogged resistance from them. Derby camped in the Millwall half for the entire second half, but they just had nothing to offer in terms of a goal threat, Derby. Derby 0, Millwall 0.
And all over at Loftus Road as well. I wonder what Neil Warnock's reaction is to that late Bristol City equaliser. Tony Lockwood.
A frustrating start to 2011 for Warnock and for Queen's Park Rangers, beaten at Norwich on New Year's Day, and now a point against Bristol City. Late drama, QPR undone by a set piece. Brett Pittman had opened the scoring for Bristol City, his 8th goal in 8 games. Alejandro Falling equalised, a well-worked move, Falling on the end of it. Adel Tarab's penalty looked like giving QPR the points, but in stoppage time, Stephen Corker had other ideas. Close range, unchallenged header, 2-2.
And you said because he took Adel Tarab off, you think that changed the game?
Maybe thought that Neil thought that the game was won, and someone like him, I think you leave on to the end. He's a bit of an inspiration.
They're more than one player.
Yeah, exactly. But he's your leading goal scorer. He's your talent.
Just trying to waste a bit of time, isn't he?
Tommy Smith,
5 minutes to go.
Tommy Smith misses a chance at the end. It's a good chance, I think. Side footer inside the 6-yard box, and he hits the side netting, and that could have actually won it for them absolutely. But I think Bristol City, I thought they deserved a draw, I was watching the game and they battled away, and I think you get inspired by, you play against a team who are at the top of the league, and it just inspires you. They battled right to the end.
Aldershot have pulled one back against the side at the bottom of the whole league. It's now Aldershot 1, Hereford 2 in League 1. It's all over at Victoria Road. Mark Webber.
Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Southampton 3. Rock solid in the first half. The defensive Berlin Wall crumbled for Dagenham in the second, and free-scoring Southampton returned to normal service in that second period. Do Prado also scoring along by Lallana, and Ricky Lambert getting a third, if controversial one. Did he hand it in? Did he head it in? The Daggers getting Josh Scott's goal, but Saints the deserving winners. Dagenham 1, Southampton 3.
Here's a final score treat this afternoon. Macclesfield against Rotherham. Stuart Hall.
Bet it's Macclesfield 0, Rotherham 2, and the hoi polloi and the aristos of Alderley Edge. The clientele of Macclesfield are stunned. Macclesfield played the football. Rotherham got the 3 points. Justin Taylor got the first goal on 28 minutes. Nick Fenton the second. 5 minutes from time. The temperature now is sub-zero at Moss Rose, like the end of my nose. Macclesfield 0, Rotherham 2.
Stuart, thank you very much. Follow that, Lizzie Greenwood-Hughes at Selhurst Park.
Yes, it's full-time here, and it's Crystal Palace 1, Preston North End 0 after a very poor first half. It took that early goal for Palace to really make Preston come alive. They just put the Palace defence under about 30 minutes of intense pressure, but no goals, and I think they'll be pretty aggrieved that earlier they were not awarded a penalty, which looked pretty clear from everyone up here in the press box, but it wasn't given. It's 2 defeats in his 2 games as caretaker manager for David Unsworth. Dougie Freedman, his first win as first time as caretaker manager, and Palace's 4th home win in a row. 1-0 to Palace full-time at Selhurst Park.
You two must both have played against Stefan Everson, surely.
I played against Stefan. I could not believe it when people text me on Twitter. I thought it was a wind-up, but please for Dougie Freedman. Palace needed it. Didn't work out with George Burley. They lost 3 players in the summer. He brought sort of 7 or 8 in. It just hadn't worked. They just needed to change it, and change it quickly before that Preston game, because that, as you know, was a must-win game. I think it's 6 points ahead of Preston now, something like that.
I think we might talk a little bit more about Preston once we've got all the results in. Let's go to Fratton Park. Roger Johnson's watched Portsmouth against Hull.
It finished Portsmouth 2, Hull 3. Jimmy Bullard hit the bar. Aside from that, every Hull effort of note was a goal. Bullard scored a hotly contested penalty to put Hull ahead, after which Portsmouth battered them for an hour. Nugent, Lawrence and Carnu all failed to take the pick of more than 20 chances before Lawrence did equalise. Hull manager Nigel Pearson then showed his nous with a change. Matty Fryatt came on to make it 2-1. Oh, I'll try that again, the boss thought. Nicky Barnby on for a carbon copy instant impact. Greg Halford headed Pompey back into it. Kitson almost equalised late on. Ward, Sonko and Nugent also went close, but Hull held on to win at Fratton Park by 3-2.
Still going at Portman Road, where Nottingham Forest lead Ipswich by 1-0, but the final whistle has gone at Oakwell. Alan Biggs.
Yeah, Barnsley 2, Coventry 1. It's Barnsley's first win in 4 games, which leaves Coventry now without a victory in 6. The A.D. Boothroyd bubble seems to have burst. Goals from Nathan Doyle and Goran Lovray for Barnsley, either side of Freddie Eastwood's equaliser. Special mention, though, for Doyle's 25-yard belter in the opening minutes. Otherwise, very little between these sides, and a game watched by one Mick McCarthy, the Wolves manager, who must, I think, have been on a player scouting mission, considering he could easily have been watching Wolves Cup opponents Doncaster at nearby Bramall Lane. Maybe Barnsley's Adam Hamill the focus of McCarthy's attention, but for once Mark Robins' side not needing a contribution from their top scorer, winning 2-1.
I did wonder whether Mickey Adams was going to rally the home side at Bramall Lane. He has. Damien Johnson.
They've got an equaliser. We're playing 7 minutes of injury time. An unlikely source as well. Fullback Rob Kozluk with a volley, hammered home in front of the Kop. And Sheffield United from 2-0 down are heading for a draw.
All over at the Medeski, Mark Bishop.
Reading 2, Burnley 1, and Burnley's caretaker manager Stuart Gray, he'll be bitterly disappointed after watching his side squander a well-earned lead through a Ross Wallace rocket after great work from Eagles and Mears. Burnley bright and busy. Then they had that lead cancelled out as Shane Long raced clear from Hunt's clever pass to steer the ball past Lee Grant, making his 250th career start. Marnie hit the post from close range. How crucial that might have been, but Reading, they came back into it into the second half. Long bagging his brace, and the winner smashing home at the far post from Joby McAnuff's corner. Reading 2, Burnley 1.
Norwich will be second this evening in the Championship after they picked up a point at the Riverside. Paul Addison.
Yes, it all looked good for Norwich on 11 minutes, Mark. They went into the lead and they've been the better side in the game so far. Grant Holt's 12th of the season, and it was a mistake from Jason Steele in the Borough goal. Holt wriggled free of the Borough defence, shot from an angle, and the ball seemed to just squirm through Steele and into the net. Borough, though, battled back. 10 minutes later, they were level, and it was Russell Martin with an own goal. He scored the winner against QPR the other day. Well, he scored in the wrong end this afternoon. Julio Walker's shot was deflected off Martin and it wrong-footed John Ruddy. Thereafter, not much to say, really. Matthew Bates for the Borough had a good few chances, and Norwich through Simeon Jackson went close as well. But a share here at the Riverside. Norwich have now lost 1 in 12. Borough showing signs of revival. They're unbeaten in 3. It was 1-1.
They're still going at Portman Road, and Robin Bailey can tell us why.
Well, yes, they were already into 5 minutes of stoppage time, chappers, but Grant Ledbetter studs up on, I think, Nathan Tyson. He's been down for so long, I haven't been able to see exactly who it is. But, well, it could be Gunter, but, yeah, studs up, he's off. And that's really ignominy for Ipswich, who've been really awful. In fact, it's been a terrible game, this. A really, really poor game. Yeah, Ledbetter been sent off, and a terrible own goal at the end of the first half, given away by Ipswich. Damien Delaney running it into his own net after a parry from Fulop just into his path. It really has been as one of those days for Roy Keane, I'm afraid. Desperate times at Ipswich these days. Desperate times.
Get the thoughts of Matt and Mark on that red card in just a moment. Let's get all the details of Leicester's win over Swansea. Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, this was a game that was off to such a promising start with 3 goals in the first half, but it tailed off so badly. It occurred to me that floodlight failure might have been a welcome distraction here. But Leicester may not be too concerned by the quality. Feel the width, the gap to the playoffs being closed bit by bit. 2 close-range goals from Burner and Vassell, enough to seal it, despite Scott Sinclair's 20-yarder, easily the most memorable moment here. But slowly and surely, Sven is having his mysterious effect. Leicester still unbeaten here since he arrived. Winners today, 2-1.
Let's find out if Steve Lee's still sat in the dark at Glanford Park. Steve?
No, the light's very much back on. We've lost 17 minutes, 2 breaks of 10 minutes and 17 minutes. We've got about 16 minutes to go here. We're still playing. It's still Scunthorpe 1 through Martin Walford, Watford 1 through Danny Gray. And we're hoping for a few fireworks of the right kind in the last few minutes. 1-1.
And we can go back to Portman Road now, where the final whistle has gone. Robin Bailey.
It has, and it's terrible, terrible result for Roy Keane. Another defeat here, and that's 1 win in 9 for Ipswich. They are plunging towards that drop zone. For Forest, they are, that's a 3rd away win of the season, so they're getting closer to those playoffs. Both teams, in truth, were awful today. It was a really, really poor game. But that own goal at the end of the first half, in the end, did for Ipswich, and that sending off of Grant Ledbetter towards the end. Paul Anderson was the victim in the end. I finally identified him, but that was into 7 minutes of stoppage time, which couldn't save Ipswich. All it was, long balls into the middle. They had no idea at all. This is a real, an Ipswich side lacking in all confidence, and they've been beaten again, 1-0 at home by Nottingham Forest.
Forest now 7th, Ipswich 19th. All the tables to come on Final Score after the classified results with Tim Gudgin.
First, the Empire Championship results. Barnsley 2, Coventry City 1. Crystal Palace 1, Preston North End 0. Derby County 0, Millwall 0. Ipswich Town 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Leicester City 2, Swansea City 1. Middlesbrough 1, Norwich City 1. Portsmouth 2, Hull City 3. Queen's Park Rangers 2, Bristol City 2. Reading 2, Burnley 1. Scunthorpe United 1, Watford 1 is the latest score. As you heard, they had floodlight failure earlier on. Sheffield United 2, Doncaster Rovers 2. Empire League 1, AFC Bournemouth 3, Brentford 1. Charlton Athletic and Swindon Town have an evening kick-off. Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Southampton 3. Exeter City 1, Brighton Hove Albion 2. Huddersfield Town 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Leyton Orient 4, Colchester United 2. Notts County 3, Hartlepool United 0. Oldham Athletic 1, Rochdale 2. Peterborough United 4, Walsall 1. Tranmere Rovers 2, Carlisle United 1. And Yeovil Town 1, Milton Keynes Dons 0. In League 2, Accrington Stanley 2, Chesterfield 2. Aldershot Town 1, Hereford United 2. Bradford City 1, Bury 0. Macclesfield Town 0, Rotherham United 2. Northampton Town 2, Lincoln City 1. Port Vale 2, Burton Albion 1. Shrewsbury Town 0, Crewe Alexandra 1. Southend United 1, Cheltenham Town 2. Stevenage 4, Barnet 2. Stockport County 0, Morecambe 2. Torquay United 3, Oxford United 4. And Wycombe Wanderers 1, Gillingham 0. In the Blue Square Premier, still playing, Darlington 2, Barrow 0. Eastbourne Borough 0, Cambridge United 2. Forest Green Rovers 0, Crawley Town 3. Histon 1, Grimsby Town 6. Mansfield Town 0, Altrincham 1. Newport County 3, AFC Wimbledon 3. Rushton and Diamonds 1, Kettering Town 2. Southport 5, Gateshead 1. Tamworth 2, Kidderminster 2. Wrexham 2, Bath City 0. And York City's match with Fleetwood Town postponed. In the Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, just the one match, St Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 2.
And the late kick-off, Scunthorpe against Watford, still going on because of a floodlight failure a couple of times at Glanford Park. And it's Scunthorpe 1, Watford 1, the latest there. Charlton against Swindon has just kicked off in League One, by the way. That's goalless at the Valley. Let's have a look at the tables for you then, this Bank Holiday Monday. QPR extend their lead at the top to 5 points, despite only managing a draw with Bristol City. Norwich are into the second automatic promotion spot at the expense of Swansea, who lost at Leicester. Fifth host fourth tomorrow when Cardiff play Leeds. Preston are now 4 points adrift of safety following that costly defeat at Crystal Palace at the bottom. Mickey Adams still looking for his first win as Sheffield United boss. Their last gasp draw at home to Doncaster still leaves them deep in trouble. They're still playing at Glanford Park, where, as I said, floodlight failure has delayed Scunthorpe's game with Watford. Brighton's lead at the top of League One remains 6 points after their late win at Exeter. Southampton, who beat Dagenham and Redbridge, continue to lead the chasing pack. Bournemouth go third, while Huddersfield rise to fourth after beating Sheffield Wednesday, who are still hanging on to the final playoff place, albeit on goal difference. At the bottom, Walsall's 14th defeat of the season means they stay rooted to the foot of the table. Yeovil's surprise win over MK Dons lifts them above Dagenham and Redbridge. Bristol Rovers play Plymouth tomorrow, but they'll need a massive win to climb out of the relegation zone after Tranmere won today. Chesterfield's lead at the top of League Two has been cut to just 2 points as Rotherham continue their relentless pursuit of top spot. They're now unbeaten in 7. Cheltenham move into the playoff spots at the expense of Gillingham, who lost at third-placed Wycombe. Hereford are off the bottom for the first time since November, thanks to beating Aldershot, their first victory in 8 attempts. That was bad news for Barnet, who slumped to last place after losing at Stevenage. In the Blue Square Premier, AFC Wimbledon scrambled a late draw at fourth place Newport, but are still top of the pile. Crawley now just 2 behind with 2 games in hand. Luton play tomorrow, while Fleetwood's game at York was postponed because of a frozen pitch. Altrincham won for just the 4th time this season, but they're still marooned at the foot of the table. Southport was second to bottom this morning, but their 5-1 win over Gateshead today lifts them out of the relegation zone. Hayes and Yedding play tomorrow. And there was just the one game in the SPL this afternoon. Kilmarnock beat St Mirren 2-0, a result that leaves the table order unaltered. Killie stay fourth, St Mirren second to bottom. Celtic 4 clear after their victory in yesterday's Old Firm, but Rangers do have a couple of games in hand. Let's get some action on for you on Final Score. Back to the Championship. Leaders QPR taking on Bristol City today. All the goals coming in the second half. And it was Brett Pittman who gave City the lead in the 50th minute. That's his 11th all-in this season, his 8th goal for Bristol City. His other 3, of course, coming for Bournemouth. Alejandro Forlan drew Rangers level. Only a few minutes after Pittman had put Bristol City ahead. As Mark Bright said, that's exactly what Adel Taarabt brings you, with him setting up Forlan for that goal. So that was 1-1. Then here came the disputed penalty. As you see, no QPR player appealed for that penalty. The referee gave it. He saw holding down or pushing. And Adel Taarabt scored the penalty to give the Leaders a 2-1 lead. But then, on loan from Spurs, he won Championship Young Player of the Month. Stephen Colker, into injury time, gave Bristol City the point. And from what you saw, a deserved point, Mark?
Yeah, QPR had a lot of chances in the first half. And, you know, Bristol, I think they've lost their last 3 games away from home. So that's a real boost for them now. And, you know, they showed a lot of spirit in that game. And, you know, I would say that it's a game you win if you're QPR at home at the top of the table. Bristol City just wouldn't say die all the way to the end, and they deserved it.
And this is a different Bristol City now than we saw at the start of the season.
They beat Cardiff last time out 3-0, comfortable winners, although Cardiff themselves are on a bit of a slide. I think they've lost 5 of the last 7 themselves. But Bristol City is a different team. Brett Pittman up front scoring plenty of goals. They look a bit more confident now as well, and they're starting to climb the table.
You'll be able to see all the action on the Football League show this evening. It's on BBC One at 5 to 11 if you're in Scotland or Northern Ireland. You get it slightly later. There's also a sports scene in Scotland this evening. That'll be on 10:55 BBC One. Match of the day is on Wednesday night. You've got Premier League games on Tuesday and Wednesday. Arsenal against Manchester City, Wolves against Chelsea, Everton against Spurs, just some of those games. 10:45 p.m. on Wednesday. And the darts is coming up here on BBC Two from 7 o'clock. Cracking match to start this evening. Defending champion Martin Wolfie-Adams taking on former winner John Boy Walton. BBC Two, 7 o'clock. Back to the Championship. Preston at Crystal Palace today without several of their loan players, pulled out by Alex Ferguson because of Darren Ferguson being sacked, we assume. Tony Pulis did the same, taking Michael Tongue out. What do you make of that?
Well, it's sort of a little bit petty, really. You know, ultimately, it's these players' careers that are at stake as well. They want to be playing week in, week out. Obviously, it left them a little bit depleted today, and they're really struggling out at the bottom of the table and looking very unlikely to get out of it.
It's massively unfair on the players involved here, isn't it, Mark?
Oh, withdrawn back to their clubs? Yeah, because they're pawns, aren't they, in the game? I can understand Sir Alex Ferguson. You've sacked my son, but you want my players to help your team. I'll pull them back. Tony Pulis, I think they had a few injuries. But, you know, it's just one of those things. It was a crucial game because it's put 6 points between Preston and Crystal Palace.
The game at Glanford Park is still going on. There's been a goal. Steve Lee.
Yeah, just 5 minutes to go here now. It's Scunthorpe 1, Watford 2. Sub Matt Witchelow. It looked like he's poached the winner for Watford right at the death. 1-2.
And that will put Watford 6th. Honestly, apart from QPR flying at the top, there are so many other sides who could go up out of this division.
I think there's only 2 teams out the top 9 or something who've won today. It just shows you how tight it is. QPR have got away with it because Swansea lost and Norwich drew.
Before today started, there was 6 points between 6th and 19th in the division. That shows how tight it is.
Matt, Mark, thank you very much for your company. QPR lead the Championship then. Football League show 5 to 11 on BBC One this evening. Bye-bye.